This old landing craft's most definitely seen better days. In fact, I think the last time it was on the water was probably at least 17 years ago. But this winter, we're planning on getting it up and running and back on the lake. Let's have a look around. So what I know about this boat is that it was built as an emergency boom boat sometime around 1994 in the Pacific Northwest. And it was owned by a logging operation. They kept it on shore and they only launched it when needed. And that means that there's very little rust on it and very few hours on it too. I think there's less than 350 hours on the entire craft. My friend Bart bought the boat about 17 years ago down in Seattle, and he trailered it up here to interior British Columbia with the intention of refitting it and putting it to work on Kootenay Lake. However, like a lot of well-intentioned projects, it just didn't happen. And it's been sitting here ever since. Now, it might not look pretty, but there's very little structural rust to speak of. The hull's solid, and I think it's got great bones. So once Bart asked me to help him get it back on the water, we decided the first thing we had to do was move it. It was pretty close to the shop wall, it was raised up off the ground, and it was just difficult to get in and out of it. So we had a crane come in yesterday, and we moved it down here, and that way we could set up a gangplank onto it and be able to walk on and off more easily with tools. And we have better access all around it. Now, our ultimate goal is to create a reliable, rugged workboat that'll do pretty much anything we need it to do. But in the short term, all we really want to do is get the engines and legs running, get it watertight, and take it to the lake and see how she sits in the water. So let's climb aboard and have a look around. So being a landing craft, obviously it has a ramp at the front. I think it's about 6 feet wide, and it's currently operated by this electric winch. That'll get replaced, obviously, and we'll probably put controls down here and up in the wheelhouse. The load area itself is it's about 8 feet wide at its widest point, and 11 feet from the ramp to the wheelhouse. Bart's already had all of these aluminium deck plates made, which we can lift up and we can use for, we can store whatever we want down there. Obviously things in this area are going to want to be not anything we'd want to use in an emergency because it might have a load on it. So let's go and take a look in the wheelhouse. One of the things I like about this boat is it's really nice and simple. There isn't a single thing here that doesn't need to be here. And I think that's the way we'd like to keep it for the most part. Down in the engine room there's a pair of Volvo Penta 3-litre 4-cylinder engines, and they're hooked up to a pair of Volvo Penta SX stern drives. Now, one of the things I do know about these engines is that one is a GS and one's a GL. Now, the GL is rated at 135 horsepower and the GS is rated at 150. But the only difference between them is the carb, I believe. So we should be able to get another carb and match them both to 150 horsepower each. There's a ton of space down here. So we're going to probably add some batteries. And we'll try not to put too much weight back here, mind you, because apparently it already sits pretty stern heavy, which is why actually they added these pontoons on the back, I believe. So yeah, we'll just have to be careful about that. Now, I'm not too worried about the engines. Like I said, one of them was running a year or two ago, and the other one's missing a starter, but even if we can't get it running, they've been making these engines since the 60s, so we shouldn't have too much trouble finding a replacement. However, what I am concerned about is the state of these stern drives. Now, there is a lot of pitting on these housings, and they just generally look like something you probably wouldn't want to repair. But we'll see what we can do. Maybe we can patch them up for a test run, and then we can look at replacing them later on. So that's where we are with this project. We've pumped the water out, we've moved it into position, and we have a rough plan of action. And I'm really excited to see what we can do with this boat. Now, if you like this kind of content and you'd like to follow along with this build, then please like and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Everyday Mariner.